Hi there, Alec from Vacuum Spot here. Today I'm going to show you how to do a motor change on a Dyson DC07. It's a pretty long one, so I'm just going to have a bash to go straight through. If I make a mistake, I'm just going to keep on going. I'm likely to stutter, you're just going to have to ignore that. Anyway, here we go. Basically, what we've got to do is just get rid of everything that's not essential to what you're doing at the time. So we'll get rid of the dust bin. We'll take off the handle assembly. Okay. And we'll also get rid of our filter cover here. Okay, these come off with just a little flat blade screwdriver. Bit of leverage, and the same on the sides. That comes off, and your filter comes out as well. If your filter looks black like that, you're going to need to get a new one and pop that in at the same time. You will need a clean bench for this one because you do have quite a few parts and pieces moving around during this. Take off your U-bend, that goes aside as well. Okay, the base plate has got 3 of these large plastic screw type things. That just lifts off. Now to get the brush roller out, you're going to need to lift up the belt. Now I have a belt lifting tool which makes it a lot easier. You can muscle your way through it with a screwdriver or something like that and just lift it up, but as you can see it comes out really easy with a belt tool. Just does that. Now to remove this part, take the belt off the tool, put that aside, and what you need to do is gradually put your fingers in this point here and use your thumb to gently lever up both sides and let that out. Now be careful because these over time become pretty brittle. Not quite sure what they're called, but they're brittle. Under here we just detach the tube like that and pop that aside. Okay, so now we're down to the basic shell. The next part we have to do is remove the height adjuster, as that actually holds the clutch in. Now the first part of that, I'll try and do this so you can see, but basically have it in the park position and you just push that back just a little bit. Now if it hasn't been done before, that can be quite stiff. Normally that wouldn't come off until you turn him over and you repeat the process from underneath. So you would normally have that like that, and you'd have to get it in just there and lever it off that part as well. Lucky for me it came off fairly easy. Now the next thing that comes out is your clutch cover. Now you're going to need a Torx driver for that. It's got your little star shaped head on it and it's a Torx number 15. 2 easy to get screws are here and here. And there is also one that's a little bit less easy to get to, which is through this hole here. Now it's pretty dark in there so you won't see it with the camera, but in fact it's not even really easy for me to see. So there we go. Okay, so now we just grab hold of the cover and just wiggle it out and put that to one side with the 3 screws that you need for it. Now we're going to remove the clutch itself. Okay, you just lift the clutch to motor belt off the drive shaft here. Okay, now all that holds this in is basically it's just a little bit more than a semicircle, and you have to just lift it out. Okay, so what we're going to do is use the belt and push gently underneath on the knob and lever it out. Now if your belt is stretched this much, because it should only protrude about 10 mil like that, I'd normally want to change this belt as well. I'm not going to worry about that today though. Alright, so now we've got these plastic circlips. These have to come off, so just gently again. These can become brittle, but at least they're cheap if you happen to snap one. That one aside. Same on this side here. Okay, now that we've got those off, what we want to do is just move this to becoming as if you were releasing it down to the floor, and you can just pop that over the edge. The same on this side, and then that whole shell will come away. Okay, now we're down to the nuts and bolts of it. We now have to, we've got 2 screws here. They're the easiest ones to get at. Okay, so we've got these 2 screws here. Now, as it happens, this is now being filmed with a different camera, as we just had to stop, and our last camera batteries went flat. And as an interesting side point, while I was waiting for the new camera, I noticed that I'm actually working on a Dyson DC04, not a DC07. But anyway, principle's the same. Oh, now I just realised there is 1 screw here down the side, and I'm about to go and do another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so there's 6 screws evenly spaced around the machine. As you remove each one, pop it to one side so that you don't go losing it. Sorry, I'm trying to make that more visible. I'm trying to make this more visible for you, but I'm not actually able to see as well as I normally would. So you'll have to forgive me missing a few screw turns. Okay, I'll just take these screws out. Okay, so from here, the whole motor shell is able to come out, and we just have to remove this little shroud, which just spreads a little bit and then comes off, and that's the last little motor part out. Okay, so from here what we've got to do, there is 1, 2, 3, 4 points where this click ring basically has to be released. So just gently pull those out. Don't want to split your plastic. Okay, now this is the hard part with these machines. This is in pretty tight and normally takes quite a bit more effort to get out. You've got to remove this rubber boot, just like that, and from here we can undo our terminals. Okay, so I happen to have another motor here ready to go, and just pay attention. Normally I would line up your blues on that side, reds on this side, and take your little locator and just put it in exactly the same position. Okay, now this, drag your cord in there, match up your blue, and we'll match up the red. Okay, now if you have a look here, you've got two little nipples that sit up there. They have to line up with our two corresponding holes. And so what I'm going to do is, as I put this in, I'm going to have a look through the hole from the underside to see if I can line this up easily. At the same time, these have to tuck in like that. Okay, and as we get it into the last bit, this little part I'm pulling back through so that locks into our cord hole there. I'm just going to turn it over and notice that my pins are actually just here and here, and with a little bit of luck it'll sit in. Okay, my mistake. You have to put the rubber boot on first, otherwise it all doesn't go together very well. Okay, so squeeze your boot on all the way around, and then do the same thing I was just doing before. The first time you do this, you could end up going back and forwards quite a few times. I still remember the first time I did one of these, and it did not go smoothly at all. Okay, now this, you've got lips around here, and the only side that doesn't have that lip goes to the top. Now you don't want to sit this down because the drive shaft will force the motor up, and you don't want it to pop out on you. Okay. So from there, we can now just reverse the process. So, basically, we're just going to sit him in there, like that. Tuck your cord into the guide rails. We're going to put our, oh, this will have to be lifted up to put this on. Okay. Alright. So now, all going well, that'll just sit in nice and neat. So you're now going to put in the 8 screws that we took out. I'm going to try and do this a little bit quicker because putting it back together is not, once you've done it, you should be able to just watch the first part of the video backwards. So at this point in the video, I actually realised that as I was uploading it, YouTube only lets you have a 15-minute video, and the original one was going to go for 20 minutes. So I've cut it in half, and if you want to watch the rest of the video, me reassembling the Dyson, just follow the link in the description underneath. Thank you.